Welcome to Family Worship Fridays, a weekly 5-minute video discussing the whys, hows, and whats of practicing family worship in your home. My name is Ryan Flint. I'm the Associate Pastor of Family Ministries at Highland Baptist Church in Hickory, North Carolina. And statistically, you pay more attention to me when you see a picture of my family. Let's get going. This whole idea of family worship or family discipleship, I'll probably use those terms interchangeably, is really important to me and to our family. By no means have we mastered this or do we practice it perfectly, but we do understand how important it is for our kids and for us as a family. As a pastor, I know that so many ministries have changed over the course of the last 12 months, and I think that makes family worship more important now than maybe ever. So let's start here. What is family worship? Simply put, family worship, again, or family discipleship, is the consistent and intentional gatherings and conversations of a given family geared towards loving God and loving others through making disciples in the home. I know that's a little wordy, but work with me here because it's really good. So let me ask you, what does family worship look like in your home? Chances are it doesn't look like much. And that's not throwing shade at anybody or throwing anybody under the bus. That's just an honest answer. Christians so often outsource our spiritual growth or disciple making efforts to a pastor or a local church. And those are good things to be a part of and good things to seek out, but it's not complete. We do this with other areas in life too. Like if your kids want to take soccer, like you take them to a soccer coach and have the soccer coach teach lessons and drills and practices to help them become a better soccer player. If you want to take your kids to piano lessons and have them learn piano, you take them to a piano teacher and that's how we do it. We outsource that to people who know more, who have been trained, and who are more equipped than we are. You're putting your child in a position to learn. And I don't think that's a bad thing. I think that's being a good parent. But when it comes to the Christian home, that's not how it was designed to work. Local churches and pastors and ministries, they're incredibly important. And I fully support you being plugged into a local church and having a pastor or a minister pour into you and your family to help you grow spiritually. But God's design was that all of those disciple making efforts and all the spiritual growth, that would start in the home and then be supported by the local church. It's God's design that moms and dads serve as the primary disciple makers of their kids. It's always been that way. Deuteronomy chapter 6, verses 4-9 says this: "Listen, Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, and with all of your strength. These words I'm giving you today are to be in your heart. Repeat them to your children. Talk about them when you sit down in your house and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. Bind them as a sign on your hand and let them be a symbol on your forehead. Write them on the doorposts of your house and on your gates." Think about a house. Any good house is built on a good, firm, solid foundation. It has good, strong, firm walls that hold itself up, and it's got a roof over top to keep anything from coming in. Over the next couple of weeks, as we continue to talk about family worship, we're going to use this picture of a house to help us wrap our minds around the whys, the hows, and the whats of family worship. We're going to talk about the foundation, our purpose, answers to the question, why do we need to do this as families? We'll talk about the hows or the walls, how are we supposed to go about doing this? Many of us don't come from a background where this was practiced, so how do we do it? And then lastly, our roof, the all-important what question. Okay, well, what am I going to do? We'll talk about purpose. We'll talk about prayers and patterns. We'll talk about plans and practices. That's where I hope these videos come into play. My goal is that these videos help you and your family with the tools, principles, teachings, and resources to help love God and make disciples in your home. Whether it's just you and your spouse, or you and your little kids, or you and your teenagers, or whatever your family may look like, my goal is that these videos help you embrace family worship and make disciples right where you live. But I know what you're thinking. This sounds great, and I want to, but I can't. I'm not theologically educated. I don't have all this time. There's no way I can make this commitment. I'm not a good example. We have all sorts of obstacles and hurdles that we put in front of us that keep us from doing what God has called many of us to do: lead our families spiritually. Next week, we'll look at some of those hurdles and obstacles head on. I'll see you then. Thanks so much for joining me for this week's Family Worship Fridays, weekly 5-minute videos discussing the whys, hows, and whats of practicing family worship in your home. If there was anything from this week's episode that blessed you or encouraged you, feel free to like and share it so that others can see. Look forward to seeing you next time. Take care.